Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Two Buck Sports Show, the second one of the week. This is new territory for us. We're plowing new ground here, and so I want to welcome in my colleague, Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I tell you, every morning I wake up and I'm like, hey, Alexa, what's the weather for today? Oh, hold on. Better unplug the Alexa. She's going to start talking.
She'll start talking to us.
I said, what's the weather for today? And she said, it always says the high or the current temperature and the high for the day. Okay. She said, current temperature is 41 degrees. The high today is 41 degrees. The low is 22. So I was like, okay, good. So it's going to be one of those days where it's only getting colder all day long. So
yeah, I think like tomorrow morning is supposed to be like 19 degrees or something here in Memphis. It's going to be quite chilly on this Friday, but it is nice and warm and cozy here in our homes in West Tennessee and North Mississippi. So
that's right.
Listen, we're figuring this out as we go. Y'all have known this from the beginning. Like, this is just kind of how we roll and how we do things around here. And so we've already got some clamoring for best in beef in the comments. And so it's a segment that we always start our shows with. And literally about 5 minutes ago, Drew and I were like, all right, we're going to do a different segment. Let's do best in beef on Tuesdays, and we'll do real versus counterfeit on Thursdays. But Drew, I feel like we have to give the people what they want, man.
I'm going to tell you, like, if it was just Wayno, you would have ignored it. But there is one person in the comments that is going to demand your attention a little bit more. We love you, Wayno, but listen, Maggie stepped all over your toes.
Oh, there we go. So what Maggie asks for, Maggie gets. And Drew, we're going to do best in beef here on this Thursday. Next Thursday, we're going to add in back our segment, real versus counterfeit, where we go back and forth with some things that we think are real, things that we think are counterfeit, and we discuss from there. But Drew,
I can give the people what they want.
We got to give people what they want.
Listen,
man.
This is the first decision made on the fly because of the comments. Welcome to the Two Bucks Live.
The new 2 Bucks Live, baby. Live and in living color, even better than before. I can go first since we're kind of setting this up because I have a pretty serious beef that just happened.
Okay.
Just happened. So I'm going to start my beef. I'll do my best and I'll concede the floor. We'll be brief about it. Chick-fil-A is one of one. Like, they are the GOAT restaurant. They always are. Wayno, I don't know what y'all's version is, if it's dingo burgers or whatever y'all eat down there. I don't know. But for us, it's Chick-fil-A, and they never miss.
For you.
Dingo babies, as Kevin Malone once said. But for me, Chick-fil-A is a GOAT, and they never miss. And so I went and got my haircut just a few minutes, like at 11, and then on my way home, how about that? That's my beat, my best coming soon. But on my way home, there's a Chick-fil-A. So I ordered in the app. I always get the same thing. I get the spicy chicken wrap. I get grilled nuggets on the side, but I get it as the meal, the Coke Zero and a medium fry. I get home to my desk. I log in here to talk to Drew before the show starts, and they forgot my fries. How do you forget fries? It says it on the receipt, man. Like right here, it says French fries. And I didn't get a single waffle fry today, and I'm upset. I'm pudgy, and I'm upset that I didn't get my fries. The wrap was good. The nuggets were good, but it's not the same without the waffle fries to soak up some of that goodness. And so I'm upset at Chick-fil-A right now. That's my beef is with Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is not bringing Rusty closer to the Lord today.
Not today. It may be the Lord's chicken, but it's causing me to sin out of anger. But I'll still go back. And then my best of the week is it's haircut day, man. Like, there are a few things in this world that make you feel better about yourself as a man and as a person than haircut day. When you go get that fresh cut, that fade, and it just like it just pops. It feels good. I love haircut day, man.
Yeah, I'm the same. I did the same thing before the show. It's weird how that worked out. And it was going to be my best if we did it because I go to a barber shop. So it's like all dudes and we're in, Ripley. And so it's like, we instead of like talking sports or the NBA or whatever you do, it was just a bunch of old white dudes in there. We were talking about home renovation projects that our wives want us to do. And I'm telling you, I needed that vent session today. So it's getting cold. We're getting, all in the house all the time now. And so my wife is just like, I wonder if we do this. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, go outside.
It's cold. Exactly right. Yeah. The other day I put a bed cover on the back of my truck, and you called me while I was doing it, and you said you picked a beautiful weather day for it, and I like to froze. I got it on, but I like to froze doing it. But anyway.
Yeah, that's my beef. My best, my baby girl turned 10. I'm getting my baby girls mixed up. I have a 10-year-old now.
Mm-hmm.
She turned 10 on Monday, and so that was great. Enjoyed hanging out with her.
So we were going to do real versus counterfeit, and it was going to transition into this new segment. But shout out to Wayno and Maggie. We appreciate both of you for bringing up our best of beef section that we always start our shows with. So Uncle Buck, we're going to dive right in a little bit because we want to get everybody on their lunch break and back to work. So the Memphis Grizzlies are playing confusing basketball right now. Like, we are good. Like, we're a good basketball team that plays really well. We've had a favorable schedule, but we play good basketball, especially in the first 3 quarters. We touched on this a little bit on the Daily Grind this morning. I do want to talk about this some because I feel like it's important to kind of note where our success is, which is early in games. And so for the first 3 quarters, we are one of the best teams in the NBA by point differential. So in the first quarter, we're currently 6th in the NBA at a plus 62. In the second quarter, we are first overall at a plus 99. Like, we kill it in the second quarter. Taylor Jenkins makes some great adjustments after the first quarter into the second quarter going into halftime. In the third quarter, where we have historically struggled, we are 6th again at plus 62.
Which is incredible because if you remember how the start of the season went, we got drilled every single third quarter.
So again, flowers where they're due. He makes great halftime adjustments recently. But in the fourth quarter, we are 25th out of 30 teams at a negative 46. And especially in clutch minutes, we are negative 18. So in games under 8 minutes where the score is within 5 points is a clutch situation. We are a net negative 18, 25th in the association, man. Like, what do you got to say about your boy Bobby Hill?
Well, I mean, I feel like first off, this conversation is spurned because of the Dallas game.
Sure.
And a Dallas game in which we were out free throw shot 26-3 in the fourth quarter.
Big part of it.
This is not, I'm not going to blame Taylor for this at all, for the Dallas game, because
at all?
Not at all, because we shot no free throws to a 26 free throw advantage. I mean, it was a 23 shot free throw advantage for one team versus the other team. Now, we've committed fouls, but don't tell me for a second that we didn't get fouled for a whole quarter. If you want to blame Taylor Jenkins for anything, it's not for the collapse. It's not really for the lineups because on Wednesday, but because of we just still have no half court offense. Like, everybody got frustrated. The body language was awful once we were getting called for everything and we were getting no calls. The team spiraled, and a fourth quarter that took 45 minutes to play because of 29 combined free throw attempts between the two teams, 26 for the visiting team, the team that we root for. And frustration spiraled out of control, and we lost the game. We allowed the home team to come back in, the crowd to get back into it. Like, listen, I wanted some close games, some angst. I wanted to see us compete in a late game situation. We got that. We kind of crumbled because we could just get no pace in the game. And we've always struggled when we have no pace in the game. Your stats,
I think this is a good point here. It's a combination of all of these, Wayno. Effort, because like Drew said, the body language started to suck when our half-court offense was sucking in the fourth quarter. When Marcus Smart was shooting a 3 with 19 seconds left on the shot clock, like, that's super frustrating. Worst game. Yeah. Rotations, I think, are a part of it. Once again, their star players outplayed our star players by a combined 25 minutes. Luke and Kyrie played 31. PJ Washington played 35. And then you had Ja and Dez playing 30 minutes, and then Jared playing 29.
Luka played 40 minutes, I think.
It was 39. You're right, 39. Like, it was so frustrating watching once again as Jason Kidd puts his star players back on the court together. Now, for most of the fourth quarter, we had one of our core 3 on the court, but they're running out there with Marcus, who was having a terrible game, Jake, Jay Huff, Santi, like guys that just aren't able to help score. Too many minutes of our lesser players playing their star players bit us in the butt again. And then I think there is some personnel there. Again, the right guys being out there. I think it's a combination. Taylor was not out there fouling everybody. And a lot of them, probably 90% of them, were actual fouls. Then you had Derek Lively pushing Jaren Jackson Jr. into the first row, that the NBA then comes back and say, yeah, that should have been a foul. Well, it's too late now. They've already shot their 26 free throws. But so it's a combination in the Dallas game and other games.
It's true. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and argue. There was a bunch of boneheaded Grizzlies fouls. Marcus Smart just him hacking Luka underneath our basket while we're in the bonus is just unacceptable. And there were some bonehead stuff. My problem is not necessarily that the Grizzlies got called for fouls they didn't commit. It's that there was no air in the whistle on our end of the basket at all. I mean, you talk about Jaren, that's the most egregious one. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they were calling ticky-tack stuff. The fouls are fouls. I guess it's contact. It's bumping. But it was ticky-tack stuff that was being called. And you can call ticky-tack fouls on both sides. Yeah. There is no lack of contact in these games. And so if you want to be ticky, you almost have to be ticky for both sides.
And it's annoying.
Your bench thing.
Wait, real quick.
Go ahead.
What's
I
annoying about
to the bench thing?
Yeah, and what's really annoying about that is like Luka was still complaining the entire game, though he was getting every call. He got that tech because he was just running his mouth. I forgot how much I hate watching him play. And even like Dallas, it was a Dallas Twitter account pissed me off yesterday talking about how the NBA hates Luka. He doesn't get the calls. Like Luka is an outcast in the NBA. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, did you not watch this game that literally just played? Like such tone deaf. But circling back to the bench.
Fans are fans. I mean, I get it. Even fan sites or fan Twitter accounts are still
something.
DG says he has a stylist, which makes me think that makes me want to critique the style. Like maybe DG should go for a mohawk. Like let's have a bolder style. I think
apparently like Grizz Live 901 has a stylist. We need to step our game up, Drew. We need to get stylists for the $2 Sports show because God
it's
help
his
him,
wife. So I was just going to make fun of the fact that he called her a stylist instead of like a haircut, like
barber or whatever.
Like if I have a stylist, buddy, I'm going to be dressing better too. I guess my wife is as well.
Be dressing like Brevin Knight on the show.
So my thing with the rotations, and where I'm going to knock Taylor. Yes, I also obviously want to see Jaren and Ja play 35 minutes a game. That's well documented. That's not something new. The players he played was different in a game that you kind of had a little bit more anticipation for. The Cup game, it does seem to be that they care about these games more. Taylor in the post-game show said multiple times the foul rate or the foul disparity was unacceptable for a Cup game. He is setting this aside. So you can tell in his mind the Cup games mean something different. But in this game, leading up to this game, Scottie Pippen was not playing. Luke Kennard was getting lots of minutes. In this game, this Cup game, Scottie Pippen had 17 minutes. Jay Huff had 16, but LaRavia only had 10. Luke Kennard only had 6. And so it's like he flopped the players that were getting the more minutes for players that were getting less minutes. And I don't know if that was matchup related or not, or, kind of what he saw in that. But, with the bench lineups out there, if you just want to look at raw plus minus, the only starter with a positive impact on the score was Jalen Wells, and everybody else was a negative. But if you look at the positives in the scorebook, and I know this is a flawed stat, but Scottie Pippen, Jay Huff, Jake LaRavia are the only people that had, and Santi Aldama had a 0. So Santi Aldama's 0, Pippen, Huff, and LaRavia were the only positives. So the bench lineups and everything, I'm like, okay, cool. But what really mattered was Luka, when he was on the court, was a plus 16. And the most frustrated I got, and listen, I saw the replay. It probably wasn't a good angle. When it got down to it, Marcus just pissed me off. That foul 96 feet from the basket was awful. And then with the Grizzlies down by 3 and Dallas have the ball, him to really go WWE heel with the he hit me in the nose, so I'm going to kind of limp around the court and check for blood and leave PJ Washington wide open for a three that put the game out of reach. Just really irked me because I'm like, Marcus, if you're bleeding and you don't get the foul call, you're a warrior. Like that's what you're known for. With blood dripping down your shirt, go contest that freaking shot. Like, I got so aggravated that he just started like wobbling around, like he took a left hook to the chin and he got a little dazed. And I'm just like,
quit selling and play basketball, man.
It felt like a real sale job the result of your sale job was not rotating to the wide open dude on the wing who's hit multiple threes on us tonight.
Yeah, and
yes, to Wayno's comment, we are overreacting.
100%. But I do want to talk about this. So how many games include clutch time? So looking back through our schedule, the regular season, I would say it's about 6 or 7, but hang with me. It's the Jazz game that we won, 126-124. The Bulls on October 28th, we lost.
Right.
The the Lakers, the second game, 128-123, we lost. The Warriors, 123-118, we lost.
Okay.
Let's go. What was the other one? The 76ers, we won that one, 117-111. And then there's two, and then the Mavericks game the other night. So we've won 2, we've lost about 4, maybe 5 of those clutch games when it comes down time to it. So it's a small sample size, but it's not a great sample size. And then the 2 that really are egregious to me, that bother me the most, we've had 2 games that really had a playoff feel. The last game against the Mavericks, and then that Warriors game, particularly late. Those are 2 games that really felt like what are playoff games. It's going to feel like.
When we made that run in the Warriors game, the game was over.
It was, but what happened when we they might have checked out, but that was our 5 best players finally playing. Then if you want to talk about that, then okay, fine. The most recent one, the playoff game feel, we really boo-booed in the bed in that fourth quarter against the Mavericks.
Again, I'm not blaming Taylor Jenkins for that. I'm not going to do it. I mean, that game had no flow. I've said consistently that
go get a tech. Why don't you go get a tech? As a coach, go get a tech, because that can help change momentum.
In a 3-point game, you're not going to go get a tech. No, that's stupid.
I absolutely think you do. I absolutely think you can go get a tech.
No, because in that moment, you are trying to win, and every point is priority at that point. You are not going to go get a tech.
But why wait till it's a 3-point game and not when it's a 12-point game and they're starting to make these calls and they're gaining on us? Why wait to that point, Drew?
Because it adds up. At that point, you're not pissed yet.
It's trending in a very bad direction. Like Taylor Jenkins is one of the worst coaches at stopping momentum. I think we can agree on that.
It's so frustrating that we don't have this conversation until they lose. And when they lose, that's when we start talking about Taylor Jenkins again. I'm not going to talk about him after losses anymore.
Not me, man. I'm on that. I'm on that on both sides, man. And you know that.
Yeah, but we've had a 6-game win streak in which it hasn't been brought up. And other than to give him
flowers,
And so let's not forget all the flowers you give him on a 6-game win streak against crap teams, and then give him crap for a game in which in the fourth quarter, we got outshot at free throws by 23. There are other things to blame here. The team had no flow. They have not been able to have a flow in a half-court offense forever. That's the reason why I've been sitting here saying, we've got to figure out the half-court offense because of playoff time, because that's what matters. And this offense doesn't work in crunch time. Ja Morant does not have the opportunity to take over, and we don't work good in a half-court offense. So fix that. But this game against Dallas is not on Taylor Jenkins. It's on the refs. You want to go tell him to go get a tech, that's fine. If Taylor Jenkins goes and gets a tech in a 3-point game and we lose, we're down by 3 or we're tied with a minute to go and he goes and gets a tech, I'm irate because we need points to win, not them.
I don't think that's true. I think if Taylor Jenkins had showed his butt and got aggressive with the refs, got a tech, changed some momentum, I think you'd be singing a different song. All I'm saying is that there are multiple things to blame. I've said that all along. A team can't outshoot you by 23 free throws in the fourth quarter. We can't be committing stupid fouls. Marcus Smart looked like a first year more than a vet the other night because there were so many frustration fouls and so many early threes in the shot clock that it was mind-numbingly frustrating watching him play basketball in the boneheaded decisions that he made. I'm just saying there's a lot. Like you said, I'm not going to blame Taylor Jenkins at all. And that's where I kind of took a little beef to it because I think there is some blame to fall on that, but is what it is. Let's talk about some good news. We did get some good news this week. We've had a couple injury updates that are very positive for the home team. We have got Zach Edey is looking like he's going to come back this weekend. Very positive. There's a good chance that we'll have him back for the Boston game on Saturday. He has started back some basketball activities. He's starting to play a little bit more. I'm here for it, man. I'm glad to see Edey coming back. We need him in the half court because I think he's not going to fix our half court offense, but I think he's going to make it better. I said this morning on the Daily Grind, the GG Jackson Jr. news is good news. It's not bad news. He is playing basketball. He is doing basketball activities. They said he is set to return in 6 to 8 weeks. That's very important. They didn't say we're going to reevaluate in 6 to 8 weeks. They said he is set to return to basketball in 6 to 8 weeks, which, yes, the timeline was end of December, early January. That pushes out towards the end of January. But realistically, Drew, even if he came back at the end of the year, like he would be on such a minutes restriction because of how dangerous a fifth med head injury really is for re-injury. I'm chalking it up as a win.
I mean, you can. I mean, the timeline, once again, the timeline is further out than what was originally reported or assumed. Maybe it was assumption. So, yeah, I do love the wording of it. Honestly, I wish that every injury report was worded that way because the reevaluation thing just allows so much time to I don't know. Maybe we should just give it another week. I don't know. Let's see. Like, put your feet to the fire. Like, do you trust the doctors? Everything's healed. Everything, this is a broken bone, so maybe it's different, but everything's healed. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's just, we're going to get him in the game. If you got to ramp him up in the games, I mean, what they've shown a willingness to play somebody for 15, 20 minutes for 6 months to get them ready. So just start there.
So 6 weeks out from the announcement puts us the week of January 13th, where we play the Spurs twice that week. That feels like a great time to get GG back because we need some scoring. Obviously, it looks like we might need a little help for some depth. We have some depth, but it'd be nice to get a little bit more depth from a guy that can score. And if not, that puts us at the end of January. So the reality is, like, this is close to that timeline because they said end of December to early January. That puts it at mid-January. It's not a bad delay, another couple of weeks, especially because I've talked about this several times, but the fifth met head, it's the outside bone in your foot, doesn't have a great blood supply. So it needs extra time to heal. And if that thing does refracture or does, something goes wrong with the pin in there and the screw in there, he's done for the year. I mean, how many times have we seen, usually in bigger players, post players, but a foot injury sidelines people for an entire year? Marc Gasol, Liz Frank injury was done for the year. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'd much rather miss the first part of the season than the last part of the season. Wayno in the comments asked, how many games do you give back? How many games back do you give GG to get back in the swing of things? I don't have any idea. I mean, maybe you can answer that, but to me, it's just about conditioning, and you can't really get game conditioning. He's a bench player. I don't really know what his max minutes are going to be anyways on a fully healthy team. I don't think he's going to be potentially a 30-minute guy anyways. I think, hopefully he can get his sea legs pretty quick. He's like 20 years old. Yeah. So get back in conditioning quick and be ready to play your 18 to 24 minutes.
Yeah, and I think like Wayno's kind of hitting that too with some of the problems we've seen with GG as far as like being a ball stop, not assisting, and some of that kind of stuff. I think GG, I think he'll understand his role a bit on this team, that he's not the 1 or 2 option like he was last year. I think he'll fit really well on that bench unit alongside Vince, alongside Santi, and Zach Edey coming off the bench as that scoring force for our second unit. Because you're right, Drew, unless he comes out and, like, again, Wayno says this all the time, potential is a scary word, but there is a potential there that he could go get you 18, 20, 25 points a night if given free range, right? But I think what we'll see is probably, especially early on, he's going to be like in that Jake LaRavia 10-minute mark, working up towards a 15 to 18-minute player, probably his max role outside of some like otherworldly progression where he's just absolutely filling it up. And so
you've seen people this season make it undeniable that they've got to play. You've seen that in Laravia, and you've seen that in Wells at times where it's just like, okay, they've got to play.
They've got to play.
And so Taylor Jenkins has shown the willingness to go with the hot hand. And so if he comes in with a hot hand, I mean, there's no doubt he's going to find minutes. And then I hope by, once he's playing for a few weeks that we lock in a rotation. That's the only beef I have with Taylor Jenkins last night. It's like, it just didn't seem like the same dudes were playing. I want pattern. I want repetition. I want to see, I want familiarity with everybody, getting the same minutes with and I know there's coaching decisions have to be made based on matchup, and I get all that, and I leave a lot of room for that. But
it does feel like he's throwing,
playing
at the
30
wall.
and then he playing 10. And then I don't want to say Scottie Pippen playing 8, then he played 20. I just want some continuity.
It does feel a bit like he's throwing, at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I'd love to see anybody, our stars especially, playing 30 minutes. That's like, it's just mind-numbingly frustrating why they're on a list with Steph Curry as the only players scoring over 20 and under 30 minutes at 25 years old. But I think, Drew, thoughts on this? I think this is intricately tied together. I think this is like GG Jackson Jr.'s return to health and return to this lineup carries a lot of weight in whether or not we make a trade.
So if you say 8 weeks for GG Jackson, that puts the timeline around the end of January. The NBA trade deadline is February 6th at 2 p.m. So if this takes the full 8 weeks like it projects, I don't know that we're going to know for sure what GG Jackson's role in this team looks like. I feel like it's still going to be in that time frame of, we're going to ramp him up. We're going to try him out. And so I don't know. For that reason, I think there's trades out there for this team. I think that there is a person or two that absolutely will get traded this year in an effort to maybe get more competitive or maybe get that next Cam Johnson type person or DeAndre Hunter or whoever, or at minimum consolidate. And so I'm going to say GG gets on the court first, but there are absolutely trades that are going to be made before February the 6th.
Agreed. And I think for all those people out there that are just so married to transaction porn, I think they're going to happen, but don't be disappointed if they're more of just a cleanup consolidation. You worded that very well. Like Luke Kennard. Luke does not have a role in this team anymore. And if we can turn Luke into a couple second-round picks or a couple picks, I wouldn't be surprised if we do that. I don't know that I'm necessarily expecting, there's rumblings that Marcus wants out and all that kind of stuff. That would be the only one. If we can package a Marcus, then Luke can go get a Cam Johnson or a John Collins or something to help us, bounce back or be more competitive. Otherwise, I could see some consolidation trades where we move Jake, we move Luke, we move people in an effort to consolidate some expiring contracts and get more picks. I don't know that we're going to go make a big splash. DG here in the comments with some breaking news. He just heard back from his source that the Grizzlies spoke to the Pelicans and were not interested in Brandon Ingram. Thank you, basketball gods. Again, great mid-range. Don't know how he fits on this team. But don't be disappointed if the trades that we made are for consolidation.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this is going to heat back up around trade deadline, and I'm just going to get out in front of it now, and I'm glad that we are. Going into the preseason, everybody was mad about our lack of a move in the offseason and whether we got better or worse. And when we decided to run it back with the dudes we've got, we're going to have a lot of that again this year if they don't make a move. And just for the record, I don't think the team needs to make a move. They need to show up.
You and I were on that this summer. We were on that this summer, all summer, and I'm not changing my tune now.
Yeah, I do think that there's ways to help your team, but it does not come without risk, and it does not go without, costing you some of your depth. Depth that I don't necessarily think is as important in a playoff run. However, you've seen this team needs depth to get well positioned for a playoff run. And I know our colleague Anthony Sane put out a Twitter poll that I thought was interesting, but he basically asked the questions: would you trade Luke Kennard in a quote unquote salary dump for a second round pick in which the player you get back you just immediately waive? I'm anti that. For anybody that engaged with Sane on that poll, my response on that is I don't want to salary dump Luke Kennard. That was the word that was used. That's what it is. For a second round pick, and to get off Luke to get off of Luke Kennard. I don't want to do that at all. Luke Kennard is an elite skill set. He's an elite shooter, one of the best that the NBA has and has had for the last 5 to 7 years, however long he's been in the league. And I don't give that up for a second round pick.
Agreed. I voted in that poll. I did say, cool, it helps keep Santi. Like, of those two, like, I would rather keep Santi because he fits his offense a little bit better. Yes, hear me out. Like, Luke is top 3 all-time three-point NBA like percentage in the NBA history. But like Drew, he's only shooting 4 or 5 times a game now, and only shots that he knows he can make. Like, he's not taking a lot of contested threes anymore. Don't hear, like, I don't think he's out there thinking I need to protect my percentage. I think he's just trying to shoot only shots he knows he can make. And we need somebody
that's what he
like,
needs to do.
but no. Like,
more
we need
people in the
like,
NBA need to be that way, though. I'm complimenting Luke.
So what I'm trying to say, we need more guys like Cam Johnson that can create a shot. Luke has to have a shot made for him, is what I was trying to say. Yeah. He's not going to go off the dribble, try and create a shot, and pull up a three. Whereas Cam Johnson will go out and get you 6 for 10, and of those 10 threes, 4 of them he was double covered and found a way to get a shot in. Yeah,
and don't hear what I'm not saying now. You trade Luke Kennard for Cam Johnson. I'm just strictly speaking, like, for Luke Kennard.
Yeah.
If you got to have a dude on the bench, I'd like to have a dude on the bench that shoots 40-something% from 3. And to give him up for nothing, I don't get.
Agreed.
And the second round pick is nothing.
This team is going to look a lot different once we get our dogs back. Once we get Edey back, who's going to help our half-court offense. Vince is going to help our defensive woes because he could have, the other night, he could have guarded Luka some and taken some of that pressure off of Jalen and Marcus a little bit. Luka's going to put everybody in a blender, but he could have helped in that process.
R.I.P. brother.
He had moments where he was fine.
By fire.
He had moments where he was fine, but the moments where he weren't fine outweighed the ones where he were.
Yeah, he had a rough night. Jalen Wells, if you look back at this season, his rookie season, and you think of 2 games he struggled, it was guarding LeBron and guarding Luka. There's no shame in that, brother.
No.
But, brother, it was a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, like, he had moments where he kind of tied Luka up, but Luka put everybody in a blender, including his fan base, myself included. We were all in our feels on Twitter the next day, like, oh my God.
He ended with a positive plus-minus. He affected the game. He was good on offense. Yeah. I'm not bashing Jalen Wells. I'm just merely saying when he was one-on-one with Luka, as most people do, he struggled mightily, and as a rookie, it's just like it hurts to see. Like,
agreed. I think he was okay. I think he is okay. And tonight is a better matchup. We'll talk about this real quick before we start wrapping up. We're going to play a little bit of roulette to end the show. But we got the Kings tonight. It's a much better matchup for Jalen. He is not going to be playing against an elite level, all-world, all-history kind of player. Absolutely. I mean, we're still trying to bumble through our shows, DG. That's a poor example if you're trying to talk about us.
The best thing about a live show is that we get to bumble, and DG's always there to put it in a sentence. Like, TLDR, here's Daniel.
That's it, man. We appreciate you being here, DG, and keeping us in check and flowing forward. But against the Kings tonight, the Kings are a team that can bite you. They've got a lot of young talent. They got some guys that can score. They're 10-12, and I think they're talent-wise better than their record shows. We talked about this morning on the Daily Grind. Domantas Sabonis he can cook the Grizzlies. There was a game earlier this year where he had 20 points and 26 rebounds in January of this year. In March, he had 20 points and 18 rebounds. Like, he is just an absolute monster. And we have been rebounding well lately. But a lot of that's been coming from Desmond Bane, Santi Aldama, Jalen Wells. We're going to need BC and Jay Huff tonight in a major way to try and get some traction in the paint against an all-world type player when he wants to be. I'm excited to watch Ja's new defense. Last thing, I'm tee you up with this. I'm excited to watch Ja's new defense on De'Aaron Fox. They both play really well. Jalen on De'Aaron Fox is a good matchup, but I think that Ja is going to want that matchup 100%.
Yeah, so Sacramento's a difficult team to play for us because it seems like De'Aaron Fox is the only person that can match Ja's speed when Ja wants to try to get downhill. He seems like he only struggles with a handful of dudes, and De'Aaron Fox is one of those. And so I'm very much pro third quarter Ja from the Mavericks game. Like, he went for it, and he wasn't passive distributor, flashy through the assist guy. He was, I'm going to go score the basketball guy, and that's the guy I want to see. And De'Aaron Fox provides a little bit of resistance to that, more so than most players. The other thing is the Grizzlies are a really good rebounding team. However, Domantas Sabonis is like a human vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
I believe last season, Domantas Sabonis averaged like 18 rebounds a game against the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And that team was awful with no – I mean, you were starting – dang, what was one of our centers' name, Rusty? Rusty, what was one of the centers' name? Pick one.
Yeah. Lamar Goodwin is like the only one that like, he played some center. Like
Lamar Goodwin. You're thinking of Jordan Goodwin and Lamar Stevens.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
See, I don't even remember. Didn't tie them together.
Neither of those were big men. I asked you to pick one person. You somehow went 0 for 2.
Combined them.
So, yeah, DeRozan's interesting. You know, they made the trade for DeRozan. He's averaging 22.5 a game. Domantas Sabonis averaging 21 and 13. So, I mean, it's fun. This is a team you should beat. The Kings are scrappy. The Kings are good. Honestly, the 10-12 record is kind of surprising for that team. They were a playoff team the last 2 years, I believe. And so I'm glad you got the one road game. You really got tested and you came up short in Dallas to end a long road homestand. So you went on the road, kind of got beat up, don't feel too great about yourself. I'm glad you're coming home to play this game against Sacramento and just go and get back right. You're 14-8, you're 4th in the West. No shame here. Like, just go out and take care of business. Don't get beat twice by that Dallas team.
Go get a professional win, as Brevin Knight would say. This is a team that you can beat. I had them as a playoff team. I think you had them in the play-in, but losing in the play-in in our preseason projections. But the season has not been going as well for them as we all thought. Go handle your business and get ready for Boston on Saturday. You can't let Dallas beat you twice. You can't peek ahead to Boston. You need to go handle your business at home tonight.
Kind of a weird spot.
Sure. It is, especially for a team that can jump up and bite you like Sacramento can. Lastly, we do have some breaking news before we play a little roulette. I got some questions for you there, Drew. NBA 2K, if you are a fan of that, released some updated rankings for the Grizzly players just within the last 20 minutes. John Morant went up by 1 to a 91 overall. Marcus Smart somehow improved by a +2 to an 81 overall. Desmond Bane dropped
an 81.
Yeah, probably.
Marcus Smart is right. That's don't let one game. Accurate. You're so in the moment. Don't let one game. It's an 82-game season. He's good.
Don't let one good game against Detroit. Season. Also, he had several bad games. A good game against Detroit, and he's regressed from there.
I have reacted accordingly for the amount of games we've played. We played 22
Santi
games.
Aldama went up by 1 to 79 overall. Jalen Wells is still sitting at a 78 overall. He went up by 2, but that still has him behind rookies like Stephon Castle, Missy, Alexander Sarr, and it's not I don't get that. He's going toe-to-toe with McCain. McCain will go get you 26, but he's not playing any defense. And so that one bothers me a little bit. It'll come up, but I mean, again, I don't play enough 2K for it to really matter. Yeah. But Jalen Wells should be better.
Yeah. What's Taylor Jenkins' rating on 2K?
A 51. Not great. I'm just kidding. Jake, your boy Jake went up from 76 to a 77, which
too low. Way too low. He needs add 10.
Yeah, add 10. All right, Drew. So each year we always talk about the roles on this team. And Wayno kind of talked about this earlier. We need run stoppers. We need closers. Who are the guys we can count on? So I got a few roles that I'm going to just kind of toss out. And let's talk about, a wage bomb in the worst kind of way. A Woj bomb in the worst kind of way. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN fame just revealed he has cancer. He stepped down to be a GM for St. John. Yeah, St. John's College. St. Bonaventure. And so thoughts and prayers out to Woj and his family. Never a good diagnosis for sure.
I was trying to find the
That's what you get with the live show. We get breaking news for you now.
Yeah, I don't see what a concise a statement was made. I was going to read it, but I don't see one.
Yeah.
So
within this Memphis Grizzlies team, let's talk some roles, Drew, as we're kind of wrapping up this show. How do you think Edey is going to fit with his return this week? Do you still see him coming off the bench?
Yes. I think that it's a pretty terrible matchup for him against Boston.
Agreed.
If that's the game he comes back. What's he going to do? Guard Horford? No, he's probably you're going to get your reps. Like, anytime that you see Luke Cornett come in, like, okay, Edey, get up, go in with him.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it comes down to crunch time, you're not going to see much Edey. He's not going to start the game. It's a real bad matchup for Edey. But then looking forward, like I'm still very much pro Edey coming off the bench
behind BC. Agreed.
Yeah, behind BC, and I'm also kind of looking at what he looks like to end games too, and how other teams end. I think you could throw a wrinkle out every once in a while, but against Boston, he's going to be a bench guy, and it's not a good matchup in his first game back, if that is his first game back.
Yeah, because we also have the Wizards on Sunday. That may be a better game for him to return. We play at Washington. That might be a better game for him to come back. I agree. I think he is a bench guy behind Brandon Clark. That's a matchup guy. He's going to be fine. Like, he's going to be a good NBA player, and if that's his role, then he'll own it and he'll do well at it. So we've seen Scotty's minutes get reduced down quite a bit. So our point guards have seemed to be John Morant, Marcus Smart, and Desmond Bane in a limited role. Are you okay with those being our point guards, or do you need to see more Scotty minutes?
Listen, I need to see more minutes with Desmond Bane not dribbling the basketball. That's what I need to see. I don't know how you do it.
Goodness.
But if that means more Scotty minutes, then great. I don't want to see point Des. It's not Dez's strong suit, and that's not a knock on him. If there's one thing, being a coach, being a leader, you're in a leadership position at your work. I am at my work. It's all about finding what people do well and helping them excel at that, like boosting that quality up. What he does well is shoot the freaking basketball. I don't want to see him dribbling and coming off screen and setting up an offense.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, if that means more Scotty minutes, great.
Yeah.
If that means less Marcus minutes, great. Whatever you've got to do to get Desmond Bane on the wing catching kickouts.
Agreed. But that would also mean Taylor Jenkins has to look up from his analytics, and hopefully he'll do that and get him out of the point guard role. Because I agree wholeheartedly. I think that we need more Ja and Marcus minutes, because Marcus has done a good job assisting and facilitating the offense, particularly with the second unit. I also don't hate Marcus running the point with Ja and Dez on the floor a little bit. I don't hate that at all, to get those guys freed up for Ja getting in and around the rim, and especially Dez on kickouts. But I agree. I think we need, if that means more Scotty minutes, that's fine. We need more downhill Dez on cuts and on wing threes than we do Dez facilitating an offense. Who are our shooters? Like, we've got guys like Dez has not been shooting very well, right? Recently, I still think he has a role. He'll come around, but who are the guys that you're looking for as constructed right now? Is there a guy on our team, or is this where we need to go make a move as a guy you can count on to get you a shot when you need it?
I mean, I think you've got guys on your team. Who's the guy that I have most confidence in outside? Let's just say outside of the big three, who's the guy that I want taking that shot? Is that a fair way to re-ask your question?
Yeah, because because Ja, Dez, and Jaren, I should have had that, not named that, because those three guys are your bucket getters. But let's say Jaren's, on the bench, Ja's running point guard. They know it's going to Dez. Who's the other guy you can count on?
In a clutch situation, I don't know that I really feel great about any of them. Luke Kennard's obviously one of those, but like, is he going to be the guy that actually gets the minutes? Jalen Wells is a guy that, given enough, I think he needs a little bit more conflict, like to see a little bit more conflict, see a little bit more battle before I'm confident with him taking that shot and say the playoffs.
Clutch
but he's
minutes,
one of them. Like, I don't mind, and he's somebody that's realistic to expect that he gets crunch time playoff minutes. Probably more so than Luke Kennard, if I'm being honest with you. And so outside of that, I mean, you're talking Santi and you're talking Brandon Clark. I'm just kidding. All right, I'll tell you what. Game on the line. You've got 3 seconds to inbound the ball and take a shot. You've got Ja, Dez, Jaren in the game. Give me Jay Huff
and Jalen Wells.
I'm talking about just stand out there and catch it. Like,
in the corner, catch and shoot. Yeah.
He either shoots 100% or 0%. So if he gets in the game early and he makes his first one, you just sit him over here and it's like, if we need you with 5 seconds to go, you're getting in the game. You're going
in because he can get a rebound or he can get you a corner three. That dude
ultimately, I think that's what they look for at the trade deadline too, is a fourth dude to take a shot, because Ja's really not a guy that you won't take in a corner three to end the game anyways.
Agreed. I think of the moves that we need to make, That is what we need, is somebody else that can create a shot and shoot for us, whether that's a big wing or a shooting guard. That's where we need a little help. That kind of plays in this last one, Drew. So as constructed right now, given this team, who are your closers? We got our big three, core three have got to be out there. Is it Jalen and BC as it's constructed right now?
No. For me, it's Marcus and BC. I think that's what I like right now. Mm-hmm. Listen, do not let the one game against Dallas, that didn't poop in the punch bowl for the whole season. Like, we have to recalibrate and remember that this is an 82-game season. And before that Dallas game, we were like, oh, take him off the trade market. He is here to stay. And then it's like everybody freaked out after the Dallas game again and wants to ship him off. I still want Marcus Smart in crunch time situations for us until he's no longer on this team, which probably going to happen.
Going to happen. Yeah.
So, and at that point, we recalibrate again. But
I agree.
I like Brandon too. He's a rebounding guy. They don't go back. They go to Santi late in games, and Santi is he's a weird dude to kind of know what's going to happen. I feel like I know what's going to happen every time Brandon's on the court.
But yeah, I love that. But also at the same time, our all-time franchise best three-man combo late in games is Jaren, Santi, and BC. Like, they're better than any other combination we've ever had.
Maybe. But at this point, we're not asking. I did not consider Santi and BC. I don't think I would do that. I want Marcus Smart. So.
I mean, it works. And, again, you're right. So with Marcus, you have to throw out the Detroit game, which is the best game he's ever had. You got to throw out the Dallas game. By and large, this year has not been a great product. He's been good, but he's not. At times, he's been bad. At times, he's been kind of around that medium there. But I think for me, given history, it's Santi, BC, and Jaren. I mean, I think that those guys, because Santi can get you a great rebound. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time late. Wayno, I know you're going to hate all this.
I was about to say, I cannot believe you're doing this to Wayno. He woke up at 4:30 this morning.
Tomorrow.
To watch this, woke up 4:30 tomorrow morning to watch us and be in the comments, and you're going to piss him off like this? You don't deserve this, Wayno.
Hey,
Take
look.
it back.
Twizzy on Twitter, he agrees, man. Santi a dog. Let's go. But I agree. Marcus needs some of those clutch minutes late, too, because of his defense, because of his hustle. I don't know that we get John Morant diving after a loose ball against Dallas without Marcus diving after loose balls over and over again. Wayno just needed me. I think Marcus is a tone setter, and I agree. While I'm tongue-in-cheek talking Santi, kind of, because, again, he is one of our best closing lineups, Marcus needs some of those clutch minutes because of the tone that he sets for this team.
Yeah. I mean, we've got plenty of guys that we can throw out there, and my only hope going forward towards the end of the season is that whatever the lineup is, let's just lock it in. Just
figure it out.
Four-wheel drive and lock it in. You're going to have time to figure it out, but you've got to figure it out and lock it in.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for our show today. Thank y'all again. Wayno, Twizzy, Maggie, all of y'all in the comments, DG, everybody that was here. Thank y'all for tuning in and hanging with us today. Live shows, we're figuring it out. DG gave us a lot of credit for saying that we're better now than we were 2 years ago. Not sure if that's the actual case, but we'll roll with it. Thank you for the kind words, sir. But we'll be back on Tuesday next week. Live show Tuesday at lunch. Tell your friends, tune in on Twitter, hop in on YouTube so you can hop in the comments. And just
Wayno's a big dude. Yeah. I mean, Wayno can probably throw some hands.
I mean, he everything in Australia wants to kill you, so you have to be somewhat tough to live there. So I don't like my chances.
Yeah, everything in Australia wants to kill you, including Wayno.
Including Wayno, especially now after all the Santi talk. But hey, Wayno, sorry. I know you're in the future. You already know what happens, but there are no refunds for what you hear on the $2 Sports Show.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Go Grizz.
Go Grizz. See y'all Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.